हरि ओम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः अद्वैतचिन्तनवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। अस्मत् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. So we commenced the first sutra of the Brahma Sutra out of the 4 sutras which we are going to plan to do it. Before that we did a study of what is adhyasa and what is the samadhana for the opposition which raised adhyasa cannot happen. So both adhyasa bhashya and samadhana bhashya, we have seen that. The reply to the opponent who says that, tamaprakashavat viruddha swabhava, that is the nature of between jnana and ajnana. So adhyasa na bhavidum arhati, adhyasa cannot happen. Tatapi, even though if it is that anyonyasmin anyonyatmata anyonya dharmamscha, so mutual attribution of the qualities due to the presence of both in the same place. So adhyasa has got, there are 2 types of adhyasa, arthadhyasa and jnanadhyasa. Arthadhyasa is the object mix-up. Jnanadhyasa is the knowledge about the 2 objects also getting mixed up. Now in the case of Atma and Sharira, Arthadhyasa is being felt when we feel the body is, we are the body. And when we do that, we are the body, we are also attributing reversely that whatever happens up to the body, we attribute that as it is happening to us, the Atma or the individual. So there the knowledge, jnanadhyasa also is taking place. So both together is happening in the case of atmadhyasa and sharira. Atma sharira idaretara adhyasa. Mithuni kritya is the word used by Shankara, which means by mixing up the qualities of each. Now, a question which came to me, which was asked, is that, so is Atma a reality and Sharira also a reality for this mix-up to take place? That question came and asked by somebody. So, how do we have to address that? Is Atma the only reality, or is the Sharira also a reality for the adhyasa to take place? It's a very valid question. Now, when we look at the process, we are experiencing the body and we are experiencing ourselves as aham, or the I in that body. Now the experiences of the body in I and I-ness through the body is what is now called the adhyasa, mixing up. It is to explain that Shankara has given 2 examples in the adhyasa bhashya. Shuktika hi rajatavat abhasate. It is the nature alone which is being perceived as the silver. Now, and then the other example is Dvitiya Chandra. Ekas Chandra Dvitiyavat. There is only one moon, but appears to be, 2 for some people. So with these two examples are different in their own quality itself. Shuktika hi rajatavat tabasate, when it is said that it is the nature itself which is being perceived as the silver. So the silveriness is the quality of the silver, which is not of the nature of on the shell. The shell is never a silver, but the silveriness, due to an aspect of shining nature of the silver, which is also present in the shell, is what is the cause for the mix-up to be happening between the two. It is not because there is silveriness in the nature or the seashell. It is the property of shining of the nature of the shell, which was now being considered as the silver is the one which is shining. So there is a hidden aspect of the shell which is not being cognized or apprehended or taken into understanding, and at the same time the silverness, there also the shining is the common factor, but the silver is not seen but assumed to be there. So what is the mix-up happening? It is not the shining mix-up which is taking place. It is the non-existent silver which is now being replacing the nature of the shell. This is one type of adhyasa or a bhranti, illusion or mix-up. In the second case, Tritiya Chandra, the second moon which is being seen, if you press on the eyeball, you can see the moon as, shadow of moon nearly close to the moon, or due to some diseases like cataract or some other disease, there are chances that you will see a moon, and in the side of the moon there is another moon also. It happens, need not be moon, it can be any shining object or any light. There is no mix-up. It is a right experience. Experience is correct, but there is a error created due to the default in the instrument of perception. Now see, compare between these two examples. One side there is no instrument error, it is only the knowledge error which is taking place. The other place, there is an instrument error for the cognition error to take place. But the effect is that both the places, what is not is now taken as something else. Atasmin tadbuddhi. That is why the definition of adhyasa is being given. That which is not there is being taken as something which is there. The silver is not there, but the shell is now taken as the silver. Same way, the second moon is not there. There is no possibility or probability, or even in the vaguest of the vague situation, there can be a second moon adjacent to the first moon. Yet, because it is being experienced, it is seen, and nobody can deny that the person who has got a defect, he doesn't see it. He is seeing it. That doesn't mean there is a second moon. It is the error in perception because of which it is seen. Now the person doesn't know that he has a disease, or the effect of the eye is the reason why he is seeing the moon. He may argue that, no, I am able to see the second moon by the side of the first moon. So for me, I can see the moon, second moon. The other person who doesn't see cannot deny or argue and say that there is no, because he doesn't see it. Now, if you look at it in our example of Itareda Adhyasa, where the body and the Atma is being mixed up, all the time the knower or the knowledge is taking place in Atma. The body is a mere, what you call insentient instrument for the knowledge to cognize. Now, when this happens, the body is now sensing the knowledge through the instruments of the body, mind, manobuddhi, ahankara, chitta, plus eyes, ears, nose, etc. All of them are, for the perception or for apprehension of the knowledge. But they themselves has no potency to know anything. Only when the knowledge, which is in the Atma or the nature of Atma, when it is being perceived through the body or when it is functioning through the body, the feeling of that I am the body, the Atma is now superimposed on the body. Like the silveriness is superimposed on the shell, here the knowing capacity of the Atma is now being taken by the mind and the intellect. And thereafter, depending upon how much the error is there in these instruments, the firmness that I am the body will remain in the body. However much one tries to establish or explain logically, even by giving examples, to detach the body's sense that I am the body cannot happen that easily. This is where most of the people get confused, that is the body then a real object which is existing? Because Atma is now entrapped in the body as if, and body feels that I am the Atma or I am the body. Unless the body is a real object which is existing and having its own capacity or properties, how can this happen? That mutual superposition, how can this happen? It is this time that we need to go into the experience of the body. When we take knowledge as the substratum or the fundamental reality, or Atma as the nature of Atma, the knowing is taking place in Atma, because of which the body is also known as an object, because of Atma knows it as Mama Shariram or my body. So what happens is that the knower has to be different from the known. Here the question comes, if the knower is different from the known and the mixing up adhyasa is taking place, it has to take place only on a real thing. Adhyasa Bhashya says no. Tvidiya Chandravat. There is no second moon possible. This is a known fact that there cannot be a second moon. But it is an experience. Like the rope and the snake. The properties of the snake, which has got life, mobility, poison, etc., is not there in the rope. But when the mix-up takes place, because of the similarity of the shape and lack of proper apprehension of the reality, the snake is being experienced, which is not there. Here also, the body is being experienced by the individual, which is not there in reality. It is there because it is being experienced. But is the experience, when you look per se, is that experience a real experience or is it getting affected? Yad na vyabhicharati tat satyam. That which cannot change its nature, only that one we can call it as truth. But if you look at the body, even though it appears to be real in our day-to-day experience, if we say that is the body a reality, by applying the definition, that which cannot change is the only one which is reality, the body has been going through change in one life itself, and even in one day itself, the body is not being experienced all the time. As a waker, we experience this body. As a dreamer, we have another body. As the deep sleeper, we do not have the waker or dreamer body also. So there is a presence and absence of the same thing. A thing which can be experienced, which need not be experienced, how can you say it is real? The definition for the real or the truth is that which does not undergo any change at any point of time. So what happens is that, then why am I feeling the body is real? It is just like that. The snake is appearing to be real as long as you do not know the rope. The knowledge of the rope was not there, because of which the snake appeared and it became a reality. A non-existent snake gives rise to a real experience. Same way, the non-existent body, when I say non-existent, means it is not existent as a reality. That is giving rise to an experience. Same way the snake gave rise to experience of the fear and the scare, or the silveriness in the nature gave us a temptation to go and pick it up, or the wateriness in the mirage, draws us towards that for drinking the water. Same way, the presence of this body, when it is being experienced, make us feel that we are the body. But the one which is the knower, which even knows the body as my body, he doesn't say I am the body. Even the transaction and the whole transaction takes place in the world, taking into consideration that the body is a reality and transactional world experience through the body, everything as real, gets nullified looking when you shift yourself from the bodiness to the awareness or the knowledge, Atma, nature of the Atma, and when you see the body as a object separate from the knower which knows the body, the whole world, the body becomes part of the world then. It is no more my body, because you are now the knower, the Atma. The body, the hand, the leg, the slippers, the earth, anything other than that, everything becomes part of the objectified world. This separation can happen only just as when the rope was known, the snake vanishes. The knowledge of the true nature of the Atma, when is known, then only the body which is being perceived as the individual can get affected. Until then, the body is reality. Just as the snake will remain a reality until the rope knowledge comes up, or the wateriness in the mirage remains as an appearance till we know it is a mirage, or the silveriness in the nest. All the examples are the same thing. We are now mixed up between the experiences happening at the body level as I, not as the knowledge of the nature of the awareness of knowing where it is taking place, is that I am. The body is only, when I say the body, the mind, body, mind, intellect, and etc., including the sense organs. All of them are objects for my knowledge. When a thought takes place in the mind, I am aware of my thought. When I am thinking, logically analyzing, I know that I am doing that. That I, who is knower, is independent of that activity of knowing or logical thing. Even when you are picking up a memory from the chitta, it is in my memory that I am picking up and saying that this is that person whom I saw last year. So the memory also is being picked up by the knowledge from the memory point of view. And even the ego, that this body is mine, this house is mine, this property is mine, everything is that mineness, which is related to the body, is now being assumed that I am the owner, or I own that, or I am the master of that. So all these aspects are when we associate, we are the body. At the same time, we have also potency within ourselves to observe the body as separate. So that is why the word mithinikaranam, or mixing up, is being used by the Bhashyakara, Shankara, saying that the same time when you are knowing that your body, you are also knowing that you can see the body or perceive the body. There is the knower present all the time. It is independent of what is knowing, being known, or the objects of knowledge. That knower doesn't undergo through any change, whatever may be the experience being that, the object or the emotions, feelings, thoughts, etc., whatever it is. Even the absence of the waking and the dream, when the knower is present, he is knowing that I have no knowledge of anything, including who am I, or what am I, where am I, or what is the time, space. Nothing is known. But he cannot deny that he has no knowledge because he didn't exist. He has to say that I knew nothing. I cannot say whether I was there or not, but I knew nothing, that is for sure. Which, when you say that I knew nothing for sure, you have to be there to say you knew nothing. That nothingness is a content of the knowledge. So when we say adhyasa, which we should understand very clearly, it is happening every fraction of a second or every moment of our life. And that mixing up, or the adhyasa, is happening between our pure nature of the knower or knowledge and, other than knowledge, something which we attribute as I, me, mine, etc., etc. So this is why, even though they are totally opposing in nature, one is the life, Atma is the Chaitanya Swabhava, the body, etc., is inert and insentient thing, they can never mix up, even though it does mix up, because naisargigoyam loka vyavahara, this natural tendency to get them mixed up is time immemorial. That doesn't mean it will remain infinite. The ignorance due to avidya is due to ignorance, or the adhyasa is a not knowing the reality of this mix-up. This is what we call the avidya or maya. Why it is happening? Because we do not know. We call it as anirvachaniya. Because we cannot explain why it is happening. Why? Because we cannot find the cause for it. That is why it is anirvachaniya. Anirvachaniya means inexplicable. We can explain everything, and any effect we can explain, provided we know the cause for it. Only when a cause is known, an effect can be defined or explained from the point of view of the cause. Now, we cannot go before time to know what caused this mix-up, because it is time immemorial. Even the time was not there when the mix-up started, because even the time is an effect of the cause, which is inexplicable. Therefore, Advaitins call that this mix-up is due to anirvachaniya khyati, or inexplicable understanding, or inexplicable mixing up of knowledge. What it is anirvachaniya, or it is inexplicable, because we do not know what caused it. But we know it has an effect. Just as some subject which is now being introduced to you, as Surga Kamo Yajita, there is a yajna called, one who is in desire of yajna or Surga should do a yajna called Surga Kama Yajna. We have now heard the sound, what is called the yajna, name we know, and what it is for. But we do not know what it is. So when did the ignorance of that knowledge happen? If somebody is asking, we cannot say when did that ignorance happen, because I never knew about it if such a thing existed before. Now at least I know that it is there, something is there of that name. So partial knowledge has come, but still I do not know what it is. So there is an ignorance aspect of it. But I cannot say what caused that ignorance. No. Same way, asti brahmedi chet veda. When the Upanishad or the Brahma Sutra is saying that Brahma or Atma is there, there is now a Shabda Jnana, or the meaning of a word is heard now. What is called the Brahma or Atma. But what is Atma, what is Brahma is not known. So there is a apparent ignorance on the word Brahma or Atma. But Advaita says that that can never happen. The reason is that nobody can ever say that I do not know that I am there or not. You are a prerequisite for knowing everything, including knowing yourself. So you cannot say there is an ignorance of myself. I do not know myself is a falsified statement or an error, a statement made in error. Because can anyone say I do not know myself? Since you are telling a statement that I know I am there, but I do not know what is my nature, or what is my surupa, or what is my adjectives or qualification with which I should be qualified or quantified myself. That is the meaning of the statement. So Ati Brahmeti Chet Veda, when it is being said that there is the Brahma or there is the Atma, when it is being said, the Upanishad is the only source which talks about such a state of one's own existence, that what is our true nature, there is no book, no knowledge, no teaching anywhere in the world other than in the Upanishad which talks about what is this nature of who am I or what am I. This can be taught or learned only from the Upanishad. Therefore, there requires, even though it is our immediate, our direct reality and experience, we have now come to a catch-22 situation, or a situation I am, at the same time I do not know who am I. How can that contradictory statement take place? Is exactly the adhyasa. You know all the time you are, at the same time you say you do not know yourself. Is exactly what is mentioned as the adhyasa, or the ignorance, or avidya, or maya, all the time. So the moment the Upanishad talks about this aspect, that you are that, there are conditions which are with preconditions for the listener who is listening such a statement. This knowledge immediately will kindle. Nobody has to even say anything. The moment the Upanishad say you are that, Tattva-tvamasi, you knew what is Tattva-tvamasi, you are that, but you do not know the details of it. The mind still is in search of for more description of it. So in the Brahma Sutra there is a Adhikarana, where there is a sutra which is called Avarti Asakratupadeshat. Repetition and again, Paunapunya, listening to the mantras from the Upanishad, the mind starts analyzing the statements and starts applying it on one's own experiences. This aspect of the individual who listens to this is what is called Brahma Jijnasa, or the desire to know what is Brahma or Atma. So the first sutra which is being deliberated by the Brahma Sutra is therefore called Athatho Brahma Jijnasa. Now we went through the first few statements of Bhashya in the last class, but I thought that, unless I prepare this aspect of the inquisitiveness or the desire to know what it is, the words of Shankara will not make sense when I am trying to explain it. Now, having given this background about why is the Brahma Jijnasa is now clear, I hope. If that is the case, then we will now get into the Bhashya of the first sutra. So the first statement is Vedanta Mimamsa Shastrasya Vyachikyasya Idam Adimam Sutra. Vedanta Mimamsa Shastra. Mimamsa is the Shastra which talks about both, is Veda basically. Purva Mimamsa and Vedanta Mimamsa, otherwise Uttara Mimamsa or Upanishad, is a Shastra. To Vyachik is now being sought to be explained. Vyakhyatum Icha. That is to be explained. The desire to explain that, or to fulfill the desire of knowing that what is Vedanta Mimamsa Shastra. Idam Adimam Sutram. This is the first sutra. which is being told, and it is called Jijnasa Adhikaranam, means Jijnasa means Jnatum Icha, desire to know. Adhikaranam means topic. So the first sutra says Atha Athaha Brahma Jijnasa, Atho Brahma Jijnasa. The simple meaning is Ataha means thereafter. Ataha means hence, therefore, thereafter, therefore. Brahma Jijnasa, deliberation on Brahman, or the desire because of which the deliberation on Brahman is going to take place. Hence it is to be undertaken thereafter the deliberation of Brahman. Now what is that? See, what is the Bhashya? Bhashya is, it will break the words into individual words, and then each word will be explained in its, not only the meaning, the context, the possibilities of error of the word which can be misunderstood, the answers for that, and how can we establish the right meaning for the right word under the context in which the description is being given. So each word, Ataha, Ata, and Brahma Jijnasa has to be separately described, and therefore Shankaracharya starts that. Atra Ata Shabda Anantaryate Pariprishyate Na Adhikara. Tatra means in this Vedanta Mimamsa Shastra, and the first sutra of the Brahma Sutra, where it is the Atha Shabda is there, Tatra Anantaryate. It is Anantaram, Tasya Artha, Anantarasya Bhavaha Anantaryam. It is indicating that thereafter, as a concept, as a sequential to something prior to that. Parigrihyate means is used. Na adhikararthe. The adhikararthe means as a commencement. So the word atha, this word atha, has got some 32 meanings in the Amrakosha. So all the 32 meaning has no relevance here, but there are three important means. One is Anantarya, then Adhikarartha, and Mangalartha. There are the three meanings which are directly applicable in this case. The other meanings are not considered here for the explanation because they are not relevant at all. So the word here, Shankaracharya says that should be taken as thereafter, or as a sequential to something, is how this word has to be taken. Parigrihire. Brahma Jijnasaya anadikaryatvad. For the Brahma Jijnasa, to the desire to know Brahma, is anadikaryatvad. It is not a consequence or a thing to commence, for commencement. Adhikaratvad na adhikararthaha iti. It is what is told. Na adhikarartvad. It means anadhikaratvad. It is not a jijnasa. See, why it is said that? Normally we need to commence something after knowing something. Janadi ichhati yatate. So for a activity to commence, we should know something. Then we have the activity related to that knowledge. Now in the case of desire to know itself cannot be a precondition to have the desire, because here its desire is to know what it is. So that is why I said Asti Brahmeti Chet Veda. That statement, there is something called Brahma, that word is heard, therefore the Brahma Jijnasa has come. Can it be considered as, because the commencement is now taking place because you have heard the word Brahma Jijnasa, Brahma in the previous portion of the Vedas, it is not there. Shankaracharya says no. It is not because of that, because a thing which is known, there is no desire to know it again. Therefore, Brahma was not known, even though you heard the word Brahma. The Brahma word meaning was not known, therefore the Brahma Jnana. So, after having heard the word Brahma, thereafter, to know the details of what is Brahma, now use the word Atha is used. Now, the third meaning of, so first is, we have said that it is for sequence. It is not as a commencement or which is causing a starting or anything like that. The third meaning is Mangalacharya or auspiciousness. Mangalasya cha vakyarte samanvaya abhavat. See, auspicious cannot syntactically to be used, even though the word here, the word Mangala is used here in Ananta Atha. Mangala Atha Jitnyasa. Why the Mangala can be then therefore Brahma Jitnyasa? Mangala cannot give rise to Brahma Jitnyasa. So the word Atha, even though it is Mangala, it is used as a Mangalika Shabda, or which is for that purpose, but it is not syntactically correct to use that as a meaning here, because it doesn't have a connection with the rest of the words Ataha and Brahma Jitnyasa. Why it is the Mangala Shabda is used? Omkarascha Adashabdascha Dvau Vedau Brahmana Purah Kandam Bitva Viniryatau Tasmat Mangalighan Bhuvau. There is one Shruti verse. This is Vamadikara is quoting this shloka. Omkara and Adashabda, these are considered as the is a word by Brahma. The Brahmana Pura, in the beginning, Brahma has uttered these two words, Dvau Atau Etau. Khandam Bitva Viniryatau Tasman Mangaligau Upau. So when you are opening your khanda or to utter a word, the two words first should come out from your mouth should be Om or Atha. Then only anything what you talk about is considered as Mangala or auspicious. Atha Andar Prayukta Eva Hi Atha Shabdaha Shrutya Mangala Prayojano Bhavati. Besides, the word Atha, when used in some other sense, serves the purpose of cautiousness from the facts of the being heard, which I explained that. In other cases, the word Atha has a meaning of Mangala, auspiciousness. Not here, because it doesn't syntactically have any relevance to the following two words, Ataha and Brahma Jnana. Therefore, Purva Prakrita Apekshaya cha Phalataha Antarya Avyatirekat. Purva Prakrita. If it implies the anticipation of something coming later by something broached earlier, then this does not differ in effect from causality. That is sequence. Here, it is that Purva Prakrita. Purva Prakrita he is talking about is a Purva Mimamsa. Apekshaya cha Phalataha Antaryam. If it is in relationship with the Purva Mimamsa, there is now consequence of that Phalata in the form of Anantarya. Avyatireka, it is not different. It does not differ from the effect of this thing earlier one, or due to causality, because it is part of the Veda only. So this Anantarya is to be now taken as the meaning as the word Artha here. So he says that Sadicha Anantarye Apatve, the meaning of the sequence is now being granted. So that all the things which is otherwise can be accepted has been rejected because each one of them have a different purpose. Only the Anandarya means sequence. Thereafter, that meaning only is now being granted for the word ataha here. Yada Brahma Jitnyasa Purvavrittam Vedadhyayanam Niyamen Apekshate Evam Brahma Jitnyasapi Yad Purvavrittam Niyamena Apekshate Tad Vaktavyam. So there are two things which is now being taken up. One is called Brahma Jitnyasa. Then another one is called Dharma Jitnyasa and Brahma Jitnyasa. Athato Dharma Jitnyasa is how the Jaimini Sutram starts for the Purva Mimsamasa. The Purva part or for the previous part of the Vedas, where all the Yajna, Karma, Kriya and all the activities all. Dharma Jitnyasa. We do not know what is Dharma. What is Dharma, what is Adharma, we do not know. What is the righteous duties, what is the non-righteous duties, where will we know it from? From Veda only. Therefore, the Dharma Jitnyasa, the Purva Mimamsa, Vedadhyayana Niyamena Apekshate. Niyamena Apekshate means there is a procedural way in which the Vedas have to be studied, due to which the knowledge or the desire to know what is Dharma, Adharma can happen. There is a dependence invariably on that aspect. What is that? You have to go through the Upanayanam, Brahmacharyam, Adhyayanam, then, Shastra Vidya, Panchagni, all the Yajna, Dana, Tapa, Karma, all those things are part of the Purvavritta Niyama for the Dharma Jitnyasa satisfaction. To know what is Dharma, what is Adharma, what is Vidhi, what is Nisheda, to know that there are rules and regulations. Niyamena Apekshate. So there is a set procedure by which the Purva Mimamsa has prescribed the knowledge of Dharma. Evam, in the same way, Brahma Jitnyasa api yat Purvavrittam Niyamena Apekshate Tad Vaktavyam. So, in the same way, Athato Brahma Jitnyasa, when it is being told, just as in the case of Purva Mimamsa, Jitnyasa was told, which prescribed the niyamas or the rules and regulations for knowing the Dharma, what is to be done, what is not to be done, if it is to be done, what is the procedure to be done, what time, when, how, all those things are prescribed in that portion of the Purva Mimamsa. Same way, for Brahma Jitnyasa also, in the situation here in the Brahma Jitnyasa also, there are conditions which is required as a prerequisite for satisfying the desire to know Brahma. Tad Vaktavyam, that has to be mentioned. That is the reason why the word Atha is being used for prescribing the niyamas to study the Brahma, about Brahma. How will we meet the requirement for the Brahma Jitnyasa, for the desire to know Brahma? Swadhyaya Anandaryam tu Samanam. In that, there is a commonality between Purva Mimamsa and the Uttara Mimamsa. The Samanam is in both the places, Swadhyaya is being prescribed. Swadhyaya Atideyatabhyam. There is a statement. You have to study through Swadhyaya, means by self-study from what you are hearing from the teachers or the scriptures. That has to be studied. Now, In the case of Brahma Dharma Jitnyasa, there is Brahmacharyam, Garhastyam, Vanaprastham, all those things for the stage by stage. Who can do Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, all of them have got different rules to be played. There also, Swadhyaya is an aspect for the Dharma Jitnyasa to be understood properly. In this case also, Brahma Jitnyasa also, the common factor of Swadhyaya is there for this Brahma Jitnyasa also. Here also, the Upanishadic words which are now Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Sarvam Khalidam Brahma, and there are many such words and prescriptions in the Upanishad for satisfying the desire to know Brahma. That has to be studied. So there is a common factor between the Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, or the Vedic part and the Upanishadic part. So the opponent is now asking a question. Nanu iha karma avabodha anandasya visheshaha. See, karma avabodha. To do the karma, there is a requirement of certain procedures. That is the Vishesha. In the previous understanding, for the religious thing, what is the mantras to be chanted, what is the time it is to be done, what is the type of activity which is to be done, and all those things are given because after which the karma is being done for that reason. Leading, is there anything similar to here for leading to the knowledge of Brahman? Now the Vedantin says no. No, there is no, because Dharma Jitnyasaya prakapi atita Vedandasya Brahma Jitnyasa upapatti. In the case of Dharma Jitnyasa, it is explaining the karma and karma angas, all the sub activities of the karma, as prerequisite for doing the Dharma Jitnyasa, for the what is Vidhi and what is Nisheda. Na Vedandasya Brahma Jitnyasa upapatye na tada nasti. Because here it is not a karma, but it is a jnana. The jitnyasa here, in the case of Dharma Jitnyasa, is in the activity, whereas here it is the nature of Brahma, which is a knowledge. Now if you want to know what is a fire, you don't have to go through all sorts of karma, preparation for, no, I want to know what is fire. You don't go through all the preparations. To know fire, the moment you see a fire and you experience the fire, the knowledge of the fire takes place. There is no requirement of any precondition that karma, karmanga, etc. Same way, Brahma or Atma, or the what is the Pratipada Vishaya here, or the matter of subject of description here, deliberation, is knowledge in nature. To know something, you cannot have a precondition that you should be all the karmas, you have to do these type of karmas to know what is something. No. That type of a prerequisite is not there in the case of Brahma Jitnyasa, which is seen in the case of Dharma Jitnyasa. For example, he is saying yatha cha hridayati avadhananam anandagya niyamaha kramasya vikshatvad. See, in the sacrificial homa, where animal sacrifice used to be there is a step-by-step procedure that after having cut open the animal, hridaya adi, first you should offer the heart of the animal to the yajna, then the neck, then the mouth, then the stomach. Like that, there is a Anandarya Niyama, means sequential Niyama. This has to be done by that. Kramasya Vivakshadatva. There is a krama, or there is a methodology which is being mentioned in the dharma part of that dharma jnana. Swargakamo yajeta, Ashwagamo yajeta, Pashugamo yajeta, Putragamo yajeta, ityadi. That there is kama proof purti. You need a material thing for which these offerings are being done. In some places it is ghee and rice, some places it is animal meat, in some places it is, the fermented liquor which is being taken from the soma leaves, etc. Different karmas are being prescribed for different achievements in the dharma jnana. So there each step is specifically mentioned. Do this, after do this, then do this, thereafter you do that. Like that, step by step, there is a prescription given in the case of the Purva Mimamsa. There is Anandarya Niyama for that. Na tada iha kramo vivikshita. Here, there is no order of that wish. To know an object, there is no sequential requirement. Shesha sheshitve adhikrita adhikare va pramana abhavat. Shesha sheshitve, anga angi, that is every dharmajit in the yaga, there is upayagas or upanga. Main one is called the mukhya anga. Then there is subordinate activity. So before giving the oblation of the ghee into the fire, the priest is supposed to look through his right side to something, like that, or he is supposed to do closing his right nostril or left nostril, take a breath, and then he has to chant that mantra, and then only he can do the oblation into the fire. Like that, there is the main thing is the yaga itself, but these are all the angi. Shesha sheshi means anga angi. So that is, such a thing is there in the pramana for the dharma jnana, for the part of the Purva Mimamsa. Tasya abhava. There is no such thing in the case of Brahma jnana. If you are a right adhikari, uttama adhikari, Tattvamasi word alone from the Upanishad is enough for you to satisfy your Brahma jnana. Now, there is subsequent things which are required. If you are not an Uttama adhikari, what are the requirements? That we will come to that later. But nothing sequential is required. What is being prescribed in the case of a Dharma jnana, which is in the Purva Mimamsa. Therefore, Dharma Brahmasa Jitnyasayoho, Dharma Brahma Jitnyasayoho, Phala Jitnyasasya Vedacha. So, both of them have got different results. And the objects of inquiry are entirely different. Therefore, their methodology are also different, because one place you have a phala of abhyudaya, which I'll come to later. What is here says, abhyudaya phalam dharma jnanam tacha anushtana apeksha. Abhyudaya means virtuous deeds and the results thereof, prosperity. For that, dharma jnanam is required. The knowledge, what is the right way to do, and there is anushtana apeksha, the right methodology of doing the things. Then only, if you do it right, then only the result is prescribed by the Veda. If there is any dereliction or a fault in the methodology of doing, the phala will not come. You may do a yajna for a putra or a son, putra kamishti yaga. In the putra kamishti yaga, if you make a mistake, you will not get a putra. So the yajna, the yajamana who has done the yajna for a putra, when he finds that he is not getting a thing, he then looks into analysis. What is the reason he has not got a son in spite of doing the yajna? That is the time he will get into the anushtana apeksha, methodology of the apeksha. And then when he finds out there is a substitution done or a wrongdoing, that it may be the reason. So he has to do it again because he is still waiting for the result. Abhyudayam, that is the prosperity by getting a progeny, cannot take place unless everything is done as prescribed by the dharma, the Purva Mimamsa. In the case of Brahma Jitnyasa, in the case of Brahmajnana, the Jitnyasa, Nishreyasa Phalam, Nacha Anushtana Antarapeksham. In the case of Brahma Jitnyasa, it is Nishreyasam. Nishreyasam is emancipation or your freedom from the clutches of ignorance. Idarekara adhyasa, we heard that in the adhyasa nimijam. So the emancipation or freedom from the image, because mitya satyat mitya jnana mithunikaranam, the mixing up of the right and the wrong knowledge is the reason why the suffering is going on. So if you want an emancipation or a freedom from the emancipation or the problem of life, the knowledge is the only requirement. You don't need any anushthananantara. You don't have to do any prescribed step-by-step process as prescribed in the similarly for the abhyudaya phalam dharma jitnyasa. For the dharma jitnyasa, this is how the difference between them. Now the nature of difference between the dharma jitnyasa and brahma jitnyasa is being taken up in the following parts, which we will take up in the next class. Any questions?
न महोदय, धर्मो जिज्ञासा अस्तु महोदय, किमपि नास्ति, समीचीनमेव.
धन्यवादः. Yes, Srinivas, Shobha, Patrick, Revati, Lata.
The question that I had, I'm not so sure how applicable it is, but it was triggered from the beginning of your discussion. Can you talk about it's not so much superimposition, but the notion how pratibhasa takes place when we analyze Vyavaharaka? How do you understand the question?
No.
Well, then could you give me a definition or an example of pratibhasa?
Pratibhasa is the best example for pratibhasa is your dream.
And then
dream is a pratibhasa. Or if you see reflections in a mirage of trees, etc., of the oasis, the trees are much farther away, but due to the reflection of the mirage or the potency of the mirage, you will appear that mirage is bringing the trees, etc., very nearby. This misapprehension of non-existent things as existent and real is what is called the pratibhasa of the tree, similar to tree.
प्रतिभाषा अन्यपदम् आभासम् इति वक्तुं शक्यते खलु महोदय? आभासं, रिफ्लेक्शन.
No, abhasa and pratibhasa are different. The upasarga, due to the difference of upasarga, the meaning changes.
अस्तु महोदय.
Pratiyate ena is pratibhasa. Okay, that is which appears. Abhasa is which should be seen as real is now seen something totally wrong. We are not seeing something wrong totally in the case of pratibhasa. But what should not be seen as what it is being seen as it is. See, in the case of a, in the darkness, you think that the horse is a cow. That is a abhasa, because horse should not never be seen as a cow. But seeing a snake in a rope, or seeing a reality of experiences as existing world and the dreamer in the dream world, is pratiyate. It is a pratiti. It is not a real, but at the same time there is a non-real things giving rise to an experience. In the case of a horse and the cow, it was a mix-up, abhasa. There is something.
Abhasam. मम चिन्तनम् आभासम् इत्युक्ते यद् सूर्यस्य अत्र आभासं घटे पश्यामि चेत् एतत् आभासमेव खलु रिफ्लेक्षन् सूर्यस्य रिफ्लेक्षन् in the part.
See, reflection is different. Reflection has to have a cause. It is real. Here, in the case of a pratibhasa, the cause is not real.
Understood.
Therefore, it is therefore it is a pratiti. Pratiti means it is just without any cause you are feeling something is existing. Whereas in the reflection, you need something there, like the mirror reflecting your face or a sun reflecting in the water is called abhasa.
धन्यवादः महोदय.
Patrick, is it clear?
Yes, that is clear. But what I'm wondering, and maybe it's it's really just a taking creative license to impose the notion of pratibhasa on vyavahara. But if everything is paramata, then it's all a superimposition, and maybe it's completely wrong. The notion of superimposition is completely different than what pratibhasa is referring. But the contents of vyavahara, the objects in vyavahara, are all essentially a mistake in that sense. But you know that I'm stretching this on an extreme level. But is there any merit to that in your mind?
No, see, when you can, that I have told you this before also, we cannot take a stand of Paramatma stand and then explain the transactional world in independence of the Paramatma. The reason being that the Vyavahara or the transactional world is being experienced when you do not have the knowledge of the Paramatma. That is the reality. You can see a snake only when you do not know the rope. But here, because it is technically now intellectually and logically we know there is this absolute Paramatma Brahman and then Vyavahara, we are still not able to disassociate ourselves from the Vyavahara or from the transactional world. Now we are trying with the intellectual capacity to have a concomitance between the two and then trying to resolve it. what are you trying to resolve? A non-existent transactional world which cannot independently exist is now trying to be resolved in that which is permanently existing, and it's only thing which is existing. That aspect of trying to do that itself is because you are trying to intellectually do that, but not understand it from the reality point of view. When you know there is rope, the snake cannot appear. The remembrance of the snake on the rope as a memory is now being explained by you as, I saw the snake because the shape of the rope and the snake shape was similar, and that is a post-mortem analysis of your experience. You are not in a post-mortem state when you are in transactional world. The transaction is still a reality when we are going through the transactional world. To do a post-mortem analysis of the transactional thing, you have to be in the Paramartha. Then only you can do a post-mortem analysis of Vyavahara or transaction. Remaining in transaction, you cannot do a post-mortem of it. You agree with me?
Yeah, I get it. It was more of an attempt to, from the perspective of Paramatma, everything, not everything, but
yeah.
No, it's not
literally
even from the. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
By words or by technical description, we can do that, but it won't be a aparoksha jnanam or a experiential knowledge.
And when we say from the perspective of Paramatma, it ends there because there is no perspective from Paramatma, so therefore you have to stop the sentence. So there is no. I was going to say that everything from the perspective of Paramatma is pratibhasa, but not really, and not even, and you can't even go past Paramatma to have that conversation because there is no. Yeah, okay, I've got it. So it was more of a play. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Thank you, Binduji. Just wanted to wish everyone happy Shankara Jayanti. Thank you for.
Oh, thank you. Happy Shankara Jayanti. Bye.
Thank you, Srini.
Mangaslokam Mahodaya.
So if there is no more questions, we'll do the Janti mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Thank you.
Namaskar Mahodaya. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಶುಭರಾತ್ರಿ.